Number 10. Kanye West. Kanye has sadly lost fans throughout 2022 as he has continued making bizarre rants that have contained anti-Semitic sentiments. He's also been asked by his ex-wife Kim Kardashian to stop publicly revealing messages sent to her or her former partner Pete Davidson to his masses of followers on social media. 2022 has been the culmination of years of outbursts that have been damaging his reputation. It all started in 2009 when Kanye stormed the stage when Taylor Swift won at the VMAs and he declared that Beyonce should have won instead. His streaming and physical sales have declined as a response to all of this, and it's reported that he's lost billions in sponsorship deals. His onslaughts have felt more sustained and intentional, and there have been calls for him to attend therapy, with fans saying they're seriously worried for his mental health. After losing the big brand deals and basically being kicked out of Calabasas, I think it's time he took some time to reflect and make some major life adjustments. Number 9. James Corden. The most recent victim of cancel culture is English actor and comedian James Corden following a temporary ban from a New York restaurant because of the way he treated staff. The owner, Kelly McNally, took on Instagram to publicly announce the ban to his 88,000 followers, saying that James Corden was the most rudest customer to my Balthazar servers since the restaurant opened 25 years ago, and going on to share two managers' reports from when Corden had visited. The most recent, from October 2022, explained how Corden had reacted to the restaurant making a mistake with his wife's order, saying, James Corden began yelling crazy things to the server, "You can't do your job, you can't do your job, maybe I should go into the kitchen and cook the omelet myself." Honestly, James, maybe you should have, and then you would have understood what it's like to work in a fast-paced, high-end restaurant. The post went viral and led to many people calling for Corden to be cancelled, as well as a slew of unverified anecdotes of people's experiences with Corden. Number 8. Will Smith. I'm sure we all remember the slap at the Oscars that saw the cancelling of Will Smith. At the awards show in the spring 2022, the Hollywood actor shocked the audience and viewers when he stormed the stage and slapped comedian Chris Rock, who was presenting an award. Chris made an ill-judged joke about Will's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head, even though she shared her experiences with alopecia. After Smith made the appearance on stage, he continued to show his anger by repeatedly shouting, "Keep my wife's name out your effing mouth." Will Smith apologized for his actions in a statement the next day, saying, "Violence in all forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable." He went on to add, "Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line, I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There's no place for violence in a world of love and kindness." He also resigned from his position as a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and has been banned from the Oscars for 10 years. Number 7. Jimmy Carr. Jimmy Carr's Netflix special, His Dark Material, released in late 2021, caused outrage. In a clip from the show, which originally aired on Christmas Day, the comedian makes a joke about how no one wants to talk about the positives of the fact that thousands of people in the traveling community were killed by German soldiers. The comment referred to the Holocaust, in which an estimated 500,000 Roma and Sinti people in Europe were murdered by the Germans, and he has been slammed by various charities along with then PM Boris Johnson and MPs. The Travelers Movement's official Twitter account posted a response to the comment saying, "This is truly disturbing and goes way beyond humor. We need your support in calling this out." While CEO of the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust, Olivia Marks Wildman, shared a statement online which read, "We are absolutely appalled at Jimmy Carr's comment about prosecution and horrified that gales of laughter followed his remarks. Hundreds of thousands of Roma and Sinti people suffered prejudice, slave labor, sterilization, and mass murder simply because of their identity. These are not experiences for mockery." Number 6. J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter series, was another famous cancellation of the last couple years. The multimillionaire took to Twitter in support of Maya Forster, a researcher who was fired from her job after she tweeted that people cannot change their biological sex in a comment that has been labeled as transphobic. Rowling tweeted in response, "Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who will have you, live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real real, #I stand with Maya. While the author has been praised for some of her previous efforts to defend LGBTQ+ people, she has since been labeled a TERF, a trans exclusionary radical feminist, by her critics. In 2017, Rowling liked a tweet that promoted an article seen to be transphobic, and she liked another tweet that referred to trans women as men in dresses earlier that same year. Following the Harry Potter books, she released more books under the pseudonym Robert Galbraith. Rowling has explained that the name came from one of her personal heroes and a childhood name she invented for herself. However, Robert Galbraith is also the name of a man who invented conversion therapy, a treatment to change a person's sexual orientation or suppress their gender identity. Many were quick to point out that this information is available with a simple Google search, something they say Rowling should have done herself. Number 5. Chris Noth. Following the re-emergence of actor Chris Noth as Mr. Big in Sex and the City reboot, and just like that, 2 women approached The Hollywood Reporter accusing him of assault. The women, who did not know each other and remain anonymous in the piece, alleged that he took advantage of them. The first, who goes by Zoe, said that she met Noth when she was 22 years old and living in Los Angeles, and that he would regularly visit the place she worked for business. The second woman, who told her story under the name Lily, told the publication that she was working in the VIP section of a New York nightclub as a waitress in 2015 when she met the actor. Now, Chris Noth denies all claims made against him, telling the paper that the accusations were categorically false and the encounters were consensual. He said, "These stories could have been from 30 years ago or 30 days ago. No always means no. That is a line I did not cross. The encounters were consensual. It's not difficult to question the timing of these stories coming out. I don't know for certain why they're surfacing now, but I do know that I did not assume these women." Shortly after the allegations were made public, Sarah Jessica Parker, along with co-stars Cynthia Nixon and Kristen Davis, issued a statement in support of the women. "We are deeply saddened by the allegations against Chris Noth. We support the women who have come forward and shared their painful experiences. We know it must be a very difficult thing to do, and we commend them for that." Number 4. Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen, model, television host, and best-selling cookbook author, was arguably the most famous to those in the Twitter sphere for her honest, witty observations and jokes that leveled at widely criticized political figures. She's gained a multi-million person following over the last few years and even managed to warrant an outburst from former President Donald Trump on the platform. One of those people who Chrissy had leveled her tweets at years before revealed the dark side to the star's online habits. Kourtney Son said they first met the model when they were 16 years old after marrying acting coach Doug Hutcherson, who is 34 years their senior. Kourtney was considered the butt of a joke among others. Teigen directed her barbs straight at the reality star. In May 2021, Teigen made a statement about the controversy. "Not a lot of people are lucky enough to be held accountable for all their past BS in front of the entire world. I am mortified and sad at who I used to be. I was an insecure, attention-seeking troll. I am ashamed and completely embarrassed at my behavior, but that is nothing compared to how I made Kourtney feel," she wrote on Twitter. Other than the removal of her cookware line from Macy's and Twitter-based public consumption, Teigen hasn't faced many repercussions for her actions against Kourtney. Number 3. Ellen DeGeneres. One of the most famous cancellations that happened was of the American television show host Ellen DeGeneres. She came under fire after BuzzFeed News posted an article where former members of her staff claimed that the star created a toxic work culture. Former employees claimed that DeGeneres is not the same person she appears to be on the show when the cameras stopped rolling. Instead, one claimed she was demeaning, and her senior executives failed to follow through with her famous tagline of "Be kind." One former employee also claimed that her top senior producers made racist comments and contributed to microaggressions on set. At the beginning of season 18 of her show, DeGeneres said, "I learned that things happened here that should have never happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I'm sorry to the people who were affected." Now, despite the apology, the Ellen Show came to an end in May 2022. Number 2. Piers Morgan. Very few people who don't know who British journalist turned television presenter Piers Morgan is, or why he's been cancelled numerous times. In one segment alone, he managed to mock minority communities by taking aim at the BBC's plan to teach children gender diversity, saying that he identified as a penguin, and was accused of sexist remarks towards co-host Susanna Reid. "It's not fine that the BBC should be doing this," he said in response to the plan. When Reid attempted to defuse the situation, he added, "You women moan as well. Women have it so hard, don't they? They have it so hard. But you and your massive salary, working 4 days a week, come on." Even before this point, there had been multiple calls for ITV to sack the controversial host, though he appeared to redeem himself after successfully holding a handful of politicians to account during the pandemic. Soon afterwards, Morgan quit Good Morning Britain after a clash with a colleague over comments he made about Meghan Markle's interview with Oprah. In the episode, he said that he did not believe that Markle had wanted to take her own life. The comments were slammed by mental health campaigners internationally, along with numerous celebrities, and over 41,000 people registered complaints against him. And coming in at number 1 is Jeremy Clarkson. The last of 2022's cancellings was Jeremy Clarkson. In his Sun column, he wrote that he hoped Meghan Markle would be paraded around the streets naked and that he hates her. He has since apologized, although equality organizations have criticized his apology as skimming around the edges of a comment that was more damaging than he acknowledged. It's too early to tell, but Clarkson is hugely popular with TV viewers, and with a second series of Clarkson's Farm due earlier this year, there's too much money on the line for him to fall victim to cancel culture. The series earned him a whole new legion of fans, expressing the softer side of the Carman's personality, so producers will likely be keen to keep him mum until that drops. And a new series of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is on the way too, with Clarkson in the driving seat. Given his heritage of saying bad things and getting away with it, he'll probably continue to do that in the same vein.
Coming in at number 10, Ellen DeGeneres. Right when the pandemic happened, a Twitter thread unleashed some of the worst stories involving her and capturing every bad thing that she had ever done. Due to claims of a toxic work environment, an investigation was actually done into the show that exposed a ton of high-level executives who had misused their power and position with the show. In her apology video, Ellen said that she began saying be kind to one another after a young man named Tyler Clementi took his own life because he had been bullied for being gay. A tragedy that should never have happened. But Ellen thought that the best way to honor him was to spread kindness. Unfortunately, taking on the title of TV's Queen of Nice was a much bigger deal than she could have ever imagined. She then encouraged the audience to never give themselves that nickname, because as we saw with Ellen, even the people that we think are nice can be rude sometimes. It's human nature, and honestly I think that we just need to forget about Ellen and move on by putting our energy into better places. For example, before we jump into our next point, make sure you tap that like button to show some love to the channel. In at number 9, David Dobrik. I think everyone is capable of learning from their mistakes, but for David Dobrik it's going to be a while before people want to start watching his content again. Something about the way that he reacted to the initial story involving Dirty Dom had left a bad taste in people's mouths. This incident may have even soiled the idea of having a vlog squad type group. With so many personalities and constantly walking that line of reality and entertainment, something was bound to go wrong. David did say in his second apology video that he would be taking a break from social media, but that he also enjoyed creating content. However, he simply waited for the bad press to blow over and then made his return back to the platform. Unfortunately for David, Jeff Wittick also outed him for being a terrible person when he released his documentary about the excavator accident that nearly led to Jeff losing his life. In at number 8, Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf was loved by many as a young actor and even received a Young Artist Award nomination in the year 2000. He also won a Daytime Emmy Award in 2003 for Even Stevens, although Shia LaBeouf's career would soon take a terrible turn. In 2017 alone, the actor was sued for $5 million by a bartender, he was arrested in Savannah, Georgia for public intoxication, and he was ordered to attend a 10-week rehab program. He was also arrested in Austin, Texas, and witnesses say that the actor was blitzed, out of control, and disobeyed the police. Shia was taken to the Travis County Jail and booked for misdemeanor public intoxication. While he has delivered some terrific performances in his latest projects, many fans can't stand his level of defiance. In at number 7, J.K. Rowling. Gone are the days where J.K. Rowling was simply known as the author of Harry Potter. Nowadays, she seems to be getting herself involved with all kinds of controversial issues, and her constant sassy tweets aren't helping her case. When someone complained about her being too wealthy, she said that she would type a longer response, but that the diamond keypad hurts her fingers. Then, after making a stern position about the transgender movement, J.K. Rowling became even more of a lightning rod for controversy. The reason we truly need to forget about J.K. Rowling is because she is seemingly feeding into her own controversies. For example, after she got backlash for her discriminatory trans comments, she wrote a book where the villain is a man who dresses as a woman. So yeah, it didn't exactly calm things down when that happened. She even published it under her ghost author named Robert Galbraith. Somehow the irony is lost on her that she identifies as a man for books, but has a problem with people who say that they don't feel comfortable in their own body. In at number 6, James Charles. James Charles released an apology video in response to the allegations that he had exchanged inappropriate messages with underage people. Typically in a James Charles apology video, he would shift the blame from himself onto someone else, but James full-on admitted to his mistakes. He admitted to having engaged in a flirtatious conversation with two 16-year-olds, once from 2021 and again just recently, which was exposed all over TikTok, although he is still standing by the defense that he believed both people were 18 years old at the time. However, if we are going to be transparent with James Charles' intentions, then I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this apology came after he was replaced on the YouTube TV show that he co-created called instant influencer. With repeated allegations of inappropriate behavior, it's safe to say that most people just want to see James Charles quit YouTube forever. In at number 5, Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen was all over the news because of a scandal regarding past messages that she had sent. Along with that, she also left Twitter blaming its toxic cycle for putting her into a bad mood, but then out of nowhere she was back and tweeting up a storm. That is until those tweets and private messages to Courtney Stodden began to emerge. Then she went quiet again and returned only to give a forced apology. Chrissy used to be beloved on Twitter for going after controversial celebrity figures, but now the script has flipped on her entirely. After this weak apology to save her sponsorship deals, Chrissy's image had slowly shifted from savior to get her out of here. She even had the audacity to say that she had apologized to Courtney Stodden, but in reality, she had blocked Courtney months ago. In at number 4, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp has been tangled up in a legal battle with Amber Heard for quite some time now. The initial article from the Sun newspaper that referred to Depp as a wife beater severely damaged the actor's reputation, and as a result, we saw him being unceremoniously pulled from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. In light of the article, author J.K. Rowling defended Depp in his inclusion with her series called Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. However, following the loss of his high-profile libel case against UK newspaper The Sun, Depp was forced out of Fantastic Beasts by Warner Bros. So despite this legal battle going on for years, it was 2020 that Johnny Depp truly began to lose all of his opportunities. Coming in at number 3, Chris D'Elia. D'Elia was cancelled and had been accused of and attempting to solicit inappropriate photos from underage girls. A woman named Simone tweeted out a screenshot of her alleged interactions with Chris, which began a thread of other women sharing their interactions with him as well. The stories were all pretty horrific considering that they were allegedly all underage at the time that Chris had sent these messages to them. However, in response to having his name dragged through the mud online, Chris told TMZ, "I know I have said and done things that might have offended people during my career, but I have never knowingly pursued any underage women at any point. All of my relationships have been both legal and consensual, and I have never met or exchanged any inappropriate photos with the people who have tweeted about me." In at number 2, Bryan Adams. It's safe to say that Bryan Adams will always remember the summer of COVID-19. The 60-year-old Canadian singer stirred a ton of controversy after having to cancel a 3-night stint of shows in London. In the tweet he said, "Tonight was supposed to be the beginning of a tendency of gigs at the Royal Albert Hall, but thanks to some bat-eating, wet market animal selling, virus-making greedy bastards, the whole world is now on hold." Now, regardless of where the coronavirus came from, it's tweets like this that were causing a violent energy towards Asian Americans. Oddly enough, Adams got more annoying when he tried to spin this tweet into an advocacy of a vegan diet. This really angered a lot of people, and rightfully so. One user commented, "Dear Bryan Adams, you might have just lost 99% of the people who would have bought tickets for your shows, but fear not, you'll still have your racist friends sticking by you and calling you a legend, like Katie Hopkins. All is not lost except your reputation and career." Last but certainly not least, on our number 1 spot, Kathy Griffin. In 2017, the comedian became a magnet for controversy after posting photos of herself holding a ketchup-covered head that looked exactly like Donald Trump. I suppose the networks were frightened of this PR disaster, and so Leno, Conan, Ellen, The View, Live with Regis and Kelly, The Today Show, and Letterman all banned Kathy Griffin from coming on live TV. CNN would go on to announce that they also relieved Griffin of her New Year's Eve coverage duties as well, a job that she had with the network for close to a decade. President Donald Trump even responded to the graphic imagery when he tweeted, "Kathy Griffin should be ashamed of herself. My children, especially my 11-year-old son Barron, are having a hard time with this. Sick." Griffin did end up apologizing and said, "I sincerely apologize. I'm a comic. I crossed the line. I moved the line. Then I crossed it. I went way too far. The image is too disturbing. I understand how it offends people. It wasn't funny. I get it. I beg for your forgiveness." Coming in at number 10, Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen had probably one of the worst summers of all time. Right when the pandemic happened, a Twitter thread unleashed some of the worst stories involving her and capturing every bad thing that she had ever done. Due to claims of a toxic work environment, an investigation was done into the show that exposed a lot of high-level executives who had abused their power and position with the show. In her apology video, Ellen said that she began saying to be kind to one another after a young man named Tyler Clementi took his own life because he was bullied for being gay. A tragedy that never should have happened, but Ellen thought the best way to honor him was to just spread kindness. Unfortunately, taking on the title of TV's Queen of Nice was a much bigger deal than she ever could have imagined. She then encouraged the audience to never give themselves that kind of a nickname. Because as we saw with Ellen, even the people we think are nice can be rude sometimes. It's human nature, and honestly I think we just need to forget about Ellen and move on by putting our energy into better places. Coming in at number 9, Vanessa Hudgens. In perhaps one of the most tone-deaf videos that we've seen in a while, this actress showed us how truly uneducated her opinions were with this video.
Even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die. It's just terrible, but like, inevitable?
I mean, she sounds like if Thanos were a Valley girl. During an Instagram live, she decided to reply to some fans, and obviously people were asking her about the current situation and what her thoughts were on it, but man, did those replies ever go viral. She said before that clip that staying in lockdown until July is BS, and then she word for word said this: "I'm sorry, but like, it's a virus, I get it, I respect it." I'm sorry, but how does one respect the virus? Oh yeah, by washing your hands, wearing a mask, and staying away from your grandparents. Then when people started getting angry with her comments, she said that they were taken out of context, but then failed to provide the context. Coming in number 8, Chet Hanks.
What's up, everyone? Yeah, it's true. My parents got coronavirus. Crazy.
Chet Hanks must be the least favorite kid in the Hanks household right now. Not only did he do this response shirtless, but his whole attitude seemed very casual about the fact that his mom and dad were locked down and actually have the virus. Not only that, but when he got some backlash for this, he just doubled down on the crazy. Chester then started trolling Tom Hanks fans, saying that his family was in the Illuminati. Yes, because in times of absolute chaos, we need this Grand Theft Auto character spewing nonsense to the world, further stirring the conspiracy pot. He then started joking even more about how he's going to have to work extra hard on his human sacrifices because he's feeling hungry. Lemmy, will someone please take away this man's phone? Because nothing good ever happens when the camera points in his direction. Oh my god.
Big up the whole island, massive. It's your boy Chetana, coming straight from the Golden Globes, you want saying? Me father Tom Hanks presenting in a what, soon forward come.
Coming at number 7, Bryan Adams. I think it's safe to say that Bryan Adams will always remember the summer of COVID-19. The 60-year-old Canadian singer stirred a ton of controversy after having to cancel a 3-night stint of shows in London. In the tweet he said, "Tonight was supposed to be the beginning of a tendency of gigs at the Royal Albert Hall, but thanks to some bat-eating, wet market animal selling, virus-making greedy bastards, the whole world is now on hold." Now, regardless of where the coronavirus came from, it's tweets like this that are causing a violent energy towards Asian Americans. Oddly enough, Adams got more annoying when he tried to spin this tweet into an advocacy for a vegan diet. This really angered a lot of people, and rightfully so. One user commented, "Did not have Bryan Adams tweets racist bullshit as a 2020 moment, but here it is, right before our very eyes." Coming at number 6, Gal Gadot. Imagine if celebrities singing from their mansions could fix this widespread pandemic. That's probably what Gal Gadot's first thought was the day that she decided to have a bunch of celebrity friends sing Imagine by John Lennon into their cell phones. And quite poorly, I must say.
I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
God, did you see that little smirk that she did at the end? It just says it all, doesn't it? Look how pleased she is with herself. On the plus side, instead of bringing the world together for one big kumbaya song, they instead united us all in hatred. It was the only thing on the internet that the people as a collective agreed was about as unnecessary as a Gary V NFT. And as a result of her trying to comfort her fans, Gal ended up feeling the full brunt of the Twitterati who threw a hashtag Gal Gadot is over party upon the tone-deaf video going viral. Coming at number 5, Kathy Griffin. In 2017, the comedian became a magnet for controversy after posting photos of herself holding a ketchup-covered head that looked exactly like Donald Trump. I suppose the networks were frightened of this PR disaster, and so Leno, Conan, Ellen, The View, Live with Regis and Kelly, The Today Show, and Letterman all banned Kathy Griffin from coming on live TV. CNN would also go on to announce that they relieved Griffin of her New Year's Eve coverage duties, a job that she held with the network for close to a decade. President Donald Trump even responded to the graphic imagery when he tweeted, "Kathy Griffin should be ashamed of herself. My children, especially my 11-year-old son Barrett, are having a hard time with this. Sick." Griffin did end up apologizing and said, "I sincerely apologize. I'm a comic. I crossed the line. I moved the line, then I cross it. I went way too far. The image is too disturbing. I understand how it offends people. It wasn't funny. I get it. I beg for your forgiveness." Coming at number 4, Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf was loved by many as a young actor, and he even received a Young Artist Award nomination. Plus, he won a Daytime Emmy Award in 2003 for Even Stevens, although Shia LaBeouf's career would soon take a terrible turn. In 2017 alone, the actor was sued for $5 million by a bartender, he was arrested in Savannah, Georgia for public intoxication, and he was ordered to attend a 10-week rehab program. He was also arrested in Austin, Texas, and witnesses say that the actor was blitzed, out of control, and disobeyed the police. Shia was then taken to the Travis County Jail and booked for misdemeanor public intoxication. Shia, who's been to rehab, has been dogged by substance abuse problems, and while he has delivered some terrific performances in these latest projects, many fans still can't stand his level of defiance. Coming in number 3, Madonna. Madonna received a ton of backlash after a video she posted to Instagram of her enjoying a bath while ranting about the pandemic. The clip was shared to her nearly 15 million followers as she sat in a bathtub filled with rose petals while listening to some creepy piano music.
How old you are, what amazing stories you can tell. It's the great equalizer.
Then she ends the whole video giving her legion of fans little to no hope whatsoever. She closes out by saying, "Like I used to say at the end of Human Nature every night, if the ship goes down, we're all going down together." Oh, thanks Madonna. That really calmed me down. The backlash for this post was insane, with many calling her and other celebrities out for getting early access to testing kits and somehow still finding a way to complain. Coming in number 2, Armie Hammer. If you've been following the insane story regarding Armie Hammer sending bizarre DMs, then you'll know that the man has a bit of a fetish for the taste of human flesh. Well, it seems as though these heinous allegations have resulted in all major film studios dropping the actor. Several women have accused him of heinous crimes, and due to the Los Angeles Police Department opening up an investigation, Walden Media had dropped him from his role in Billion Dollar Spy. As for the film Death of the Nile, an executive said that hundreds of people had already worked on the project, so they refused to scrap it over one individual. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that move plays out for them. And last but certainly least, coming in at our number 1 spot, J.K. Rowling. Gone are the days where J.K. Rowling was simply known as the author of Harry Potter. Nowadays, she seems to be getting herself involved with all kinds of controversial issues, and her constant sassy tweets aren't really helping her case. When someone complained about her being too wealthy, she said that she would type a longer response, but the diamond keypad hurts her fingers. Then after making a stern position about the transgender movement, J.K. Rowling became even more of a lightning rod for controversy. The reason we truly need to forget about J.K. Rowling is because she is seemingly feeding into her own controversies. For example, after she got backlash for her discriminatory trans comments, she wrote a book where the villain is a man who dresses as a woman. So yeah, didn't exactly calm things down when that happened. She even published it under the ghost author name Robert Galbraith, and somehow the irony is lost on her that she identifies as a man for books but has a problem with people who say that they don't feel comfortable in their own bodies. Gotcha.
Number 10, Ava Louise. The TikToker first made headlines in March of 2020 after she posted a video of herself licking an aeroplane toilet seat in the middle of a pandemic. Although that's probably not even the grossest thing that's happened in an aeroplane bathroom. And days later, Ava was diagnosed with the virus. The video immediately triggered a reaction from almost everyone who saw it, including The View host Meghan McCain, who tweeted, "Put her in jail." If that wasn't bad enough, Ava then went on Dr. Phil and said that she was really annoyed that the virus was getting more publicity than her. She even threatened to cough on Dr. Phil after he said that her attitude was spoiled and ridiculous. So why did she do it? Well, People magazine reached out to her for an explanation, and she just said, "I'm looking for a record deal and a reality show about my messy life." Then in 2021, Ava sank to a new low when she started a rumor that Kanye West was having an affair with Jeffree Star, insisting that that was the reason for his divorce from Kim Kardashian. The craziest part is people actually believe this, until Jeffree addressed the rumors in a YouTube video, clearly stating that he is single and he's never slept with Kanye. Ava later admitted to fabricating the whole story for, you guessed it, internet clout. She said, "I'm not even getting sued. I made this entire scandal up. There's literally not one bit of truth to anything I have said." Number 9, Andrew Tate. Long considered one of the most divisive figures on the internet, the controversial commentator became famous for his views on gender roles, women, and masculinity. He also ran a marketing scheme called Hustlers University that was a money-making educational group which cost $50 a month to subscribe to, the service apparently having tens of thousands of subscribers if not more at the peak of his fame. His viewers were split with people who loved him and his ideologies and people who absolutely hated him. It's clear that most of the people who liked his content were men, and other people referred to his fans in a derogatory way as Andrew Tate's boyfriends. This negative energy and content that made Tate the most Googled person on the planet led to his removal from social media platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Then on the 29th of December, he was arrested in Romania on charges of organized crime. A court in Bucharest has since upheld the 30-day arrest after rejecting all 4 appeals against a judge's decision to extend the arrest period. As of now, investigators have identified 6 female victims in the case who were subjected to acts of physical violence and mental coercion, as well as various forms of exploitation by the members of Tate's alleged crime group. Number 8, Sienna Mae. Sienna Mae Gomez was a hugely popular California-based TikToker who's been accused of
derogatory behavior by her former friend and fellow TikTok star Jack Wright. One of Jack's friends first made the allegation back in May of 2021. Mason Rizzo posted a screenshot of a Notes app page with the details. Jack then retweeted them, and the internet pretty much turned on Sienna right away. She then tried to defend herself and made 2 separate videos denying the claims. She posted them to her Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube pages in June. In response, Jack said his friend's accusation was correct, and that he was terrified of Sienna and felt gaslighted by her denial. It took months for Jack to come forward and properly tell his story, but in January of 2022, he posted a video titled "What Sienna Did to Me," where he described 4 occasions where she touched him without consent, a few of those times being when he was unconscious, which was all captured on video, and that does in fact show him to be inebriated to the point of being asleep or otherwise incapacitated. In response, Sienna went on to say that she was in love with Jack, but said that he did not feel the same way about her. She said the passion she felt for him was now being misconstrued as desperation and possessiveness, but nothing she said at that point was really enough to stop her from getting cancelled. Number 7. Logan Paul. The YouTuber has come under fire this month for his role in orchestrating a massive crypto scam that has caused investors to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. In August of 2021, Logan enthusiastically announced his new project called CryptoZoo, a cryptocurrency game where players would purchase an egg using the tokens that would then hatch into an animal. They could then breed that animal with another one to make a hybrid, which they could then sell or burn back into their own funds. But soon after the game was launched, it was quickly met with complaints and accusations that it was a scam. Users reported that they could not make transactions or cash out in the game, and said that the valuable animal hybrid tokens were actually just photoshopped stock images of animals, not even original pieces like Logan Paul had previously claimed. He eventually gave up on the project altogether and said that it failed because the developer had taken the code hostage and fled to Switzerland, demanding $1 million for it. On December the 16th in 2022, a YouTuber called CoffeeZilla then exposed the whole scam, and he interviewed several investors who reported that there was no way for them to extract their money or make transactions after they bought into the game. Someone even lost $500,000. He also interviewed the developer who Logan claims to have held the code hostage, but it turns out he only did this because he was never paid for the work that he put into the project. To make matters so much worse, the game was originally targeted to children, despite the fact that it never worked in the first place. Number 6. JStation. Jason Ethia, known by his 5.5 million subscribers as JStation, caused an online uproar in January during his bizarre split with his girlfriend and fellow YouTuber Alexia Morano. On January the 21st, Jason uploaded a now deleted video to his channel, claiming that Alexia had been killed by a drunk driver. In the following days, he uploaded additional videos of himself visiting her apartment, visiting her apparent memorial, and communicating with her via a Ouija board. It was pretty ridiculous stuff, and it wasn't long before his subscribers caught on. Many viewed his behavior as disturbing and tasteless, expressing outrage in the comments section and demanding a response from the YouTuber. Finally, on January the 27th, Jason posted another video admitting that yes, Alexia was alive. Apparently they were both in on it, and Jason insisted that it was a joint effort to boost the following of their prank channel called Dream Team. He also claimed that his girlfriend had left him and was accusing him of attacking her with a weapon. In response to her ex's claims, she came out with a video of her own in which she denied wanting any involvement in the hoax and accused Jason of being controlling and manipulative throughout their relationship. Surprisingly, the couple then reconciled and posted a video on their jointly owned YouTube channel, but shortly after the controversy, the I Am JStation channel was terminated for a terms of service violation. So that was the end of his account. Number 5. David Dobrik. The popular YouTuber was well known for his funny videos and his famous vlog squad of an entourage, but his squeaky clean image was called into question when Seth Francois, a former member of his influencer crew, accused David of disturbing levels of deceit when he claimed that he was tricked into kissing someone without consent. The incident is pretty messed up. Seth was under the impression that he was about to kiss a female member of the group called Karina, who was supposedly hiding under a mask, when in reality it was Jason Nash, a 48-year-old man. For Seth, this was an extremely traumatic moment, and one that was posted to YouTube for millions to see. And who was behind the whole prank? You guessed it, David Dobrik. A few days after the story came out, Trisha Paytas revealed her own uncomfortable experience with him. On her Frenemies podcast, she recounted a time when David filmed her naked without her consent. She asked him not to post the video to YouTube, but he did, and he tried to frame it as a prank. In the weeks that followed, even more disturbing allegations came out, and as a result, David lost many fans and major partnership deals like HelloFresh, DoorDash, General Mills, HBO Max, Facebook, and Audible. David's fall from grace was swift, and although his YouTube account is still active to this day, he's lost a large chunk of his fan base and has not been able to recover from the scandal. Number 4, Michaela Nogueira. The TikToker known for her makeup videos faced immense amounts of backlash for a video she posted in 2021, which ended up resurfacing last year, where she complained that being an influencer was not easy. She said, "I literally just finished work and it's 5:19. Try being an influencer for a day. Try it. The people who say it's easy are so far out of their minds. It's not for everybody. In fact, it's for a very small handful of people who can actually do this job. You do not want to have this job, I'm just saying." Since the video resurfaced, it has since amassed more than 6 million views on TikTok and inspired an entire Reddit thread attacking her comments. It reignited a debate online about whether influencers are tone deaf when it comes to work that regular people have to do. Michaela's cancellation was swift. Many non-influencers took issue with the video as it made the rounds on the internet. One user tweeted, "It just feels very out of touch to be complaining to working class people about how being an influencer is hard. I have zero sympathy for you." Another person wrote, "Having access to that type of social capital gives you a life of luxury and comfort that a vast majority of the world does not have." The online discourse eventually led to a trend of regular people posting videos that showcase their day-to-day jobs. In the end though, it's possible that Michaela just wanted to let off some steam and talk about her day-to-day life. Unfortunately though, her comments seem to lack a whole lot of self-awareness, and that's why she was heavily criticized. Number 3, Tana Mongeau. The influencer is always knee-deep in drama. Mostly known for her YouTube channel, she has a TikTok following of around 6 million subscribers. Tana has been involved in too many controversies to name. For one, she was caught partying during the pandemic and has a long history of racist behavior, but her most infamous controversy might be TanaCon, a YouTube convention where she charged 20,000 fans $65 each to see her at a venue that could only hold 5,000 people. Most people were left outside, unable to get into the event that they paid for. The event received widespread media coverage and became the subject of a documentary and several comedic videos making fun of the event. Overall, the situation at TanaCon was really what turned a lot of people against her. Tana also married fellow YouTuber Jake Paul in 2020, and they put together a lavish July wedding in Vegas, which reportedly cost them around $500,000 and involved private jets, a mansion, multiple wedding cakes, and even a replica of Jon Snow's sword from Game of Thrones. Apparently there was even a fist fight mid-ceremony, but the thing is, the whole relationship was fake and they never actually made their union legal. In the end, it turned out to be just one expensive publicity stunt. Number 4, Tara Lynn. A TikTok influencer who goes by the name of Tara's World recently garnered a ton of scrutiny when she made a video asking if anyone had a job and saying that all of her friends stayed in bed all day. She spoke to her 4.8 million followers from inside the car and criticized their apparent lack of work ethic and claimed she noticed this from the photos they posted on an app called Be Real. She said, "This Be Real could go off at 11 AM, 1 PM, 3 PM, it doesn't matter. Everyone's in bed. There is an alarming amount of people that every time Be Real goes off, they are just in bed with their shades drawn. Why are you in bed? It seems like nobody wants to work. Get your effing ass up and work." Tara then described herself as the most productive person ever and wrote in the caption that she's not a hater, but the whole thing was just funny to her. The video was viewed around 5 million times, and you can guess what everyone's reaction was. Many people labeled her comments as BS, given that she's a professional influencer, which is a career that many don't consider to be a real job. Amidst the growing backlash, she tried to backpedal and released a video saying that she was just joking and talking about her own friends. But by that point, she was already cancelled. And coming in at number 1, Bryce Hall. Known as one of the bad boys on TikTok and for being Addison Rae's ex-boyfriend, the 23-year-old has gotten himself banned from Playlist Live, which is an influencer convention, because he peed off the balcony of a hotel lobby. He was also accused of infidelity by Tana Mongeau, erratic behavior in public, and getting into street fights. In fact, Bryce was recently arrested for punching a nightclub security guard in the head. In a video obtained by TMZ, he can be seen standing in a hallway outside of a nightclub, looking visibly distraught. Things then escalated pretty quickly when he decided to shove one of the 2 members of security. At one point, you can see him getting tackled to the ground by 4 security guards, while a 5th guy who looks like a hotel employee just watches on. The fans have been outraged by his behavior for quite some time. Back in August, at the height of the pandemic, he hosted 2 large house parties in defiance of local health orders. Eventually, the mayor of LA decided to cut off power to his house in an attempt to curb the massive gatherings. People were outraged that Bryce was having Project X-style parties in the middle of a public health crisis.
Number 10, Julia Fox. 5 months after the conclusion of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp's defamation trial, the actress went on Emily Ratajkowski's High Low podcast in defense of Amber. Julia opened up about her decision to publicly support her. She said, "I did have to say something because if it could have happened to Amber Heard, who is white, blonde, beautiful, a successful actress, because people say that she has no career before, but she did. Over 10 movies, I think. So it can really happen to anyone. None of us are safe. While on the podcast, she doubled down on her controversial Instagram post that she made back in May, where she claimed that Amber never had the power in the relationship to be the aggressor. While she agreed that yes, Amber did hit Johnny Depp, she felt that she did not have enough power to be able to misuse it. Julia said she was 25. He clearly was always way more powerful, including physically and financially. To elaborate on her point, she said, "For me, I just always see things bigger picture. I never really harp on small details. I look at what does this mean for the collective. All the women in the world are going to suffer from this." She also references the overturning of Roe v. Wade and said that both were going to cause damage to women. While her argument is certainly controversial, it actually seems to be gaining popularity as many are revisiting the chaos of the trial and its lasting impact on the discourse surrounding the Me Too movement. Number 9, Dakota Johnson. The Suspiria actress gave a bombshell interview with The Hollywood Reporter where she called cancel culture an effing downer and defended Shia LaBeouf, Armie Hammer, and Johnny Depp, who have collectively been accused of some form of emotional or physical violence against their partners at one point in time. Dakota said, "I never experienced that firsthand from any of those people. I had an incredible time working with them. I feel sad for the loss of great artists. I feel sad for people needing help and perhaps not getting it in time. I feel sad for anyone who was harmed or hurt. It's just really sad." She went on to say that she doesn't feel like they should simply be cancelled forever and shut out from the industry. Dakota said, "I do believe that people can change. I want to believe in the power of a human being to change and evolve and get help and help other people. I think there's definitely a major overcorrection happening." But she also made it clear that she believes that there's a way for the pendulum to find a middle, and the way that studios have been run up until now is behind. In her opinion, sometimes the old school needs to be moved out for the new school to come in. To sum it all up, Dakota said, "But yeah, cancel culture is such an effing downer. I hate that term." So clearly there's a few celebrities who think the movement has gone too far. Number 8, Bryan Cranston. The star of Breaking Bad shocked fans when he defended both Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey, suggesting that there may be room for redemption for these two disgraced Hollywood figures. When the allegations first came out, Cranston said Spacey was a phenomenal actor but not a very good person. Then he seemed to change his mind. In a 2017 interview with the BBC, he said that for these two men to become accepted, it would take time and it would take a tremendous contribution on their part, and also admitting that they had a deeply rooted psychological and emotional problem. Cranston said, "It takes years to mend that. If they were to show us that they put the work in and are truly sorry and making amends and are not defending their actions but asking for forgiveness, then maybe down the road there is room for that. Maybe so." He seems to think that rather than discounting these disgraced figures forever because of their actions, society should leave it open for the few that can make it through that gauntlet of trouble and who have reclaimed their life and their dignity and respect for others. But in terms of which of them truly deserves a second chance, Cranston argued that it would be up to us to determine, case by case. That certainly makes sense, although it would only work in theory, as it would be virtually impossible to get everyone to agree on which celebrities are to be forgiven for their indiscretions and which ones should remain cancelled. Number 7, Woody Allen. Ironically, the actor and director seemed to come to Harvey Weinstein's defense in the wake of the allegations against him. According to the BBC, Allen initially said that he felt sad for the disgraced film producer and that he worried women speaking out would start a witch hunt. He said, "The whole Harvey Weinstein thing is very sad for everyone involved. Tragic for the poor women that were involved. Sad for Harvey that his life is so messed up, despite the disturbing nature and volume of the allegations against him." Allen also said, "You also don't want it to lead to a witch hunt atmosphere, a Salem atmosphere, where every guy in an office who winks at a woman is suddenly having to call a lawyer to defend himself. That's not right either." His comments raised more than a few eyebrows, given just how pervasive of an issue this has become in Hollywood, not to mention Allen's own problematic history with very similar accusations. It's common knowledge that the director has faced years of criticism over his relationship with Mia Farrow's adoptive daughter Soon-Yi Previn. In fact, his other adoptive daughter, Dylan Farrow, has alleged that he took advantage of her in 1992. She outright said it in a 2013 interview with Vanity Fair and in an open letter published in the New York Times the very following year. So Allen doesn't exactly have a crystal clear record himself. It's not surprising that he has chosen to play devil's advocate with the Weinstein case. Number 6, Corey Feldman. The Goonies star had been friends with music legend Michael Jackson ever since he was a child. The singer had already been passed away for a decade before HBO aired the documentary Leaving Neverland. Suspicion had swirled around Jackson for years, but he was finally put on trial in 2005 and acquitted of all charges. Given the nature of the accusations, Feldman's defense of his friend carried a lot of weight in the discourse surrounding the documentary when it came out in 2019. The actor took to Twitter and said, "Never once swore in my presence, never touched me inappropriately, and never suggested that we should should be lovers in any way. But he also said if God forbid these things were true, then there is a completely different Michael that I knew. And after watching Leaving Neverland, Feldman said, okay, I watched it all and I know what I experienced. And yes, every experience was the same, right up until the sex part. That is where it becomes La La Land instead of Neverland for me. However, I do take issue with the fact that this whole thing is one-sided with no chance of a defense from a dead man, and no evidence other than the word of two men who, as adults, defended him in court. The reason his words were so powerful is that Feldman had previously come out with his own allegations against men in Hollywood in his deeply personal 2013 memoir, where he wrote about how dark the industry can really be, especially for child stars. Number 5, Whoopi Goldberg. The actress and talk show host had been defending Bill Cosby ever since the disturbing allegations against him began pouring in back in 2014. The comedian was once known to millions as America's Dad, famous for his clean brand of family comedy and his award-winning work with children's programming. So when the first accusations surfaced in the mid-2000s, some of them going back as far as 50 years, his public persona started to unravel. So far, more than 50 women have come out claiming that the star slipped them illicit substances and took advantage of them while they were unconscious. That's why fans were shocked when Whoopi Goldberg came to his defense. While arguing about the scandal on The View, she said, "The bottom line is, that's the law. Innocent until proven guilty. It's my opinion. And the American courts agree with me, because still he has not been taken to jail or trial on anything." But she was not the only one defending him. Interestingly enough, Disney star Raven-Symoné also echoed her sentiments. She went on The View in 2015 and said, "I really don't like to talk about it that much because he's the reason I'm on this panel in the first place. He gave me my first job, but at the same time, you need the proof, and then I'll be able to give my judgment here or there. And now there are real facts. More people can come up." At one point, the panel agrees that Cosby was definitely guilty, to which Raven said, "But guilty of what?" Number 4, Sharon Stone. In January of 2018, several misconduct accusations came out against James Franco. The backlash against him reached an all-time high that year when 5 female students at his Studio 4 acting school in North Hollywood told the LA Times that he had taken advantage of his position as their teacher in order to make predatory advances on them, which he himself admitted to. This left his reputation in shambles, and even Seth Rogen, his longtime collaborator and friend, dropped him, telling the Times of London that the scandal changed their relationship and that he has no plans to work with him in the future. Sharon Stone, who appears in Franco's movie The Disaster Artist, defended the actor during an appearance on Mark Maron's WTF podcast. She described him as the loveliest, kindest, sweetest, most elegant, and nicest man, and said, "I'm appalled by this thing about him that is happening. Now all of a sudden he's a bad guy. I worked with him. I know him. He's a kind friend, a lovely professional. I'm absolutely appalled by this." She went on to say something that fans later called into question. She said, "I don't know how the girlfriend can say that she's offended that he asked for a BJ while they were dating, and now all of a sudden he's a bad guy." So obviously that last quote didn't go down too well with people. Number 3, Kate Winslet. The actress had worked with Roman Polanski as recently as 2011 for the film Carnage, and she doubled down on defending her choice to work with the disgraced director. When asked in a New York Times interview whether or not she considered the charges against Polanski before deciding to work with him, she said that she had an extraordinary working experience with him, which was pretty much a way to avoid the question at hand. Kate also defended working with Woody Allen. When she was asked whether or not certain allegations affected her decision to work with someone, she said, "Of course one thinks about it, but at the same time, I didn't know Woody and I didn't know anything about that family. As the actor in the film, you just have to step away and say, I don't know anything really, and whether or not any of it is true or false. Having thought it all through, you put it to one side and just work with the person." She seemed to be answering that age-old question though, can you separate an artist from the art? The men she refused to condemn have both been embroiled in similar scandals, but for a long time, what happened in their personal lives did not seem to affect their ability to continue working in Hollywood. Despite the severity of the accusations against them, there are still some who believe that it should have no effect on their legacy or contributions to the industry. Number 2, Lena Dunham. The writer and actress best known for her feminist filmography surprised her own fans when she came to the defense of one of her writers, Murray Miller, who was accused of attacking actress Aurora Perino in November of 2020. Lena had previously made it very clear that she supported the Me Too movement and the concept of Believe All Women. That's why people found it so hard to believe that she wasn't siding with the alleged victim in the situation. She released a joint statement along with Girl showrunner Jenny Connor, saying, "While our first instinct is to listen to every woman's story, our insider knowledge of Murray's situation makes us confident that sadly this accusation is one of the 3% of cases that are misreported every year. It's a true shame to add to that number, as outside of Hollywood, women still struggle to be believed. We stand by Murray and this is all we'll be saying about the issue." But after a bit of backlash, she later apologized for siding with Murray and backpedaled on her statement, tweeting, "Until we are all believed, none of us will be believed. We apologize to any women who have been disappointed." Ironically, at one point in time, Lena also had to defend herself against misconduct allegations of her own, which stemmed from several unsettling passages in her memoir. And coming in at number 1, Michael Ian Black. The comedian showed his support for Louis C.K.'s return to stand-up comedy after he admitted to several misconduct allegations in 2017. Black posted on Twitter, "We'll take heat for this, but people have to be allowed to serve their time and move on with their lives. I don't know if it's been long enough or his career will recover, but if people will have him back, I'm happy to see him try." He certainly did take a lot of heat for this statement, to the point where he had to clarify that no, he was not defending what Louis did. He was simply saying that we're in uncharted waters and we need to figure out how to move forward with the scandal. In another tweet, Black argued that the Me Too movement is incredibly powerful and important and vital. One next step among many steps has to be figuring out a way for the men who are caught up in it to find redemption. But as expected, that tweet received an even worse reaction than the first one, because people still felt that he was trying to extend an olive branch to Louis. But the discourse didn't end there. Black seemed to be fighting for his life on Twitter and eventually had to put up a post on his website saying that men who make mistakes should be allowed to return from exile. Critics of his comments mainly argued that if Louis deserves a second chance, it would completely depend on him showing any signs of having changed at all.
At number 10, Acacia Kersey. Getting her start on Tumblr almost a decade ago, Kersey has accumulated quite the list of controversies. She's been called out for racism, mistreatment of her pets, stealing other people's work, and even neglecting her children. Acacia has 2 daughters, Brinley and Rosemary, or Rosie. Now Rosie has a medical condition that affects her heart, and in watching her family vlogs, people have pointed out some unacceptable behavior from Acacia. There have been clips of Rosie unattended on the floor, unclipped nails, and with an unsanitary tube in her nose due to it not being washed after a doctor's visit. Acacia and her husband even took their daughters camping in the woods just days after Rosie had a big operation instead of keeping her home and resting. I could go on, but the most recent thing that really made people ditch Acacia is when she stole from another creator. Kersey announced that she was going to start selling her own presets, which are filters you can use for photos, after her own Instagram was receiving praise. She released a pack of multiple presets but ended up taking it down just the next day. Apparently, small business owner Ash of Cherry Photo Club had confronted Acacia, accusing her of stealing her photo presets and presenting a lot of proof. Acacia did apologize, but customers wanted their money back. This only drove her reputation further into the ground because she said she'd already spent the money and couldn't give refunds. Acacia hustled selling homemade Mickey Mouse ears and flipping furniture, which eventually got her the money for the refunds. After that, she deleted her entire Instagram except for one photo proving the refunds were received and left the internet. That was until a few weeks ago when she returned. Apparently now she's divorced and pregnant again. Will she have any supporters to come back to, or are her haters just waiting to see what she does next? Number 9, Gabby Hanna. After an eventful year online full of discoveries, spiritual breakthroughs, rants, spiritual breakdowns, neck tattoos, and even claiming to be God at one point, Gabby Hanna has taken the advice of viewers and gotten some help. Despite her recent switch, I know there are a lot of people who will just not be returning to the Gabby Hanna fandom. The former Vine star and YouTuber had fans concerned for her well-being and mental health throughout this year due to her concerning activity and content on TikTok. Hanna at one point even posted at least 200 videos within a few days on the app. During her frequent postings, she would discuss her newfound insights on religion, even claiming to being the second coming of Christ at one point, filmed what seemed to be a possible break-in, and concerned fans to the point where the LAPD were called to her house multiple times. Hanna's erratic behavior was out of the blue for her, almost making a complete 180 from her prior promotional content for her music. Gabby would make videos of her dancing, reciting poetry, singing in the tub, and would even post things that led viewers to believe
she may attempt to take her own life. Gabby referred to God as daddy for a while and even said he was the one in charge of her socials. Basically, it was hard to watch, but the more fans worried, the more she would yell about how she was fine, so many of them left. Now, recently Hannah has returned to the platform, seemingly back to a better mental state, apologizing for and explaining her behavior, but for a lot of people, I think the damage has already been done. Number 8. Ruby Frank. She came to YouTube fame with her family on their channel called 8 Passengers. Throughout their time on the platform, they've shared their day-to-day lives, including things that viewers saw as a red flag. The way Ruby and her husband Kevin would show uncomfortable private moments of their kids, like when they were being punished, raised concerns, but the actual punishments themselves were even worse. Gradually, people began noticing and speaking out about the parents' harmful behavior towards their 6 children, and noticed that Ruby especially was very strict with them. One incident that really shocked people online was when they took away their son's bed for 7 months as punishment. Over the years of terrible treatment towards their children, viewers have warned Ruby and Kevin that once their kids move out for college, they'll never look back. Flash forward to now, and their oldest daughter Sherry did just that. After much speculation about Sherry's relationship with her parents, she finally spoke out and confirmed that she has no relationship with her mother or father. She did mention she hoped for a reunion sooner than later, but as of now, things aren't good. Now fans are even more done with Ruby as she takes on a new business venture called Connections, where she gives parenting advice for a price. Clearly, people think she is the last woman who should be giving parenting advice and are so done with her behavior. Even Ruby's sister has said that Connections has torn them apart, trashing Connections, and in a year Ruby went from 8 passengers to 1. At number 7, Jeffree Star. Despite him being cancelled before, Star continues to be shut down even when keeping things low-key. Star was involved in some pretty heated drama on YouTube with the beauty community a couple years back. That, combined with his very problematic choice in language back in the day resurfacing, turned a lot of people off of him. Star decided to sell his mansion in California and move to Wyoming, where he lives on a yak farm. Yes, Jeffree was pretty much cancelled before, but for the fans he still had, he posted content of his new life. Star made countless videos of and with his yaks, showing them off to fans. Then earlier this year, he shocked fans when he announced that he would be starting to sell the yaks' meat. Now, of course, having a farm and selling meat is nothing to cancel someone over. I definitely have no problem with that. What fans were upset over is the fact that he lied about it. Prior to selling the meat, Jeffree spoke of the animals as though he wouldn't be using them for that reason. Star has spoken a lot over the past year about his love for yak farming, saying he's in love with their spirit, calling his 40+ animals part of his family. In September of last year, Jeffree filed a trademark line for yak-related products, including yarn, treats, clothing, and more. Following the report coming out, Jeffree himself posted an Instagram story claiming his yaks were just for petting and loving. This is why fans were upset when they heard about the meat being sold. It's clear Star's plan to farm, harvest, and sell meat from his yaks has likely been in the works for years. Number 6, Chef Veronica Shaw. Widely known as Chef P, she's the creator of the highly criticized viral pink sauce. Amassing millions of views across TikTok related to reviews, speculation, and explanations, the pink sauce creator was met with scandal after advertising and distributing her product primarily through social media. It's clear from people who did buy and receive the pink sauce that there were a lot of things that were overlooked, and when it comes to selling a food product, nothing can be overlooked. The sauce that was often cited as Pepto-Bismol-like in color and texture promises a sweet, spicy, and tangy flavor. That being said, I think most customers only experience the tangy part in the worst way possible. According to the website, the sauce is made from dragon fruit, honey, chili peppers, garlic, and sunflower oil. The controversy really began when the production method of the product was questioned. Several customers who received pink sauce reported a rancid scent, distended bottles, or already exploded bottles upon receiving it. On top of that, a typo on the nutrition label stated 444 servings per container when it should have been 30. This prompted a lot of backlash. Kayla Said It on Twitter wrote, "As a food scientist, do not buy that pink sauce. People are receiving bloated bottles, meaning one of two things. There's a bacterial reaction occurring, in brackets, gas production, and or there are zero preservatives." Chef P defended her product, saying she's fixing the issues and that it's a small business with things moving really fast. At this point, the initial excitement of the sauce has worn off, and I know people don't play when it comes to food safety. I think the pink sauce train has left the station. At number 5, Nikocado Avocado. Another YouTuber who's used to being called out for his problematic behavior is at it once again. With every scandal, people are only becoming less and less interested to see what the shocking YouTuber will come out with next. Nick Perry is a YouTuber known for his extreme eating videos and the insane transformation he's gone through since the beginning of his time online. He's been involved in many controversies over the 8 years he's been a YouTuber. Perry clearly pulls out the shock value for his videos, but as he only gets more extreme, his subscribers in the YouTube community are concerned. Nick started out his time on YouTube as an aspiring musician and vegan vlogger. Now he only posts shocking eating videos, including one where he cries, shaving his head over fried eggs and ramen noodles. In the past few years, Nick has made a lot of videos about feuds he's been in with other creators, videos of him and his ex-husband Orlin physically and verbally fighting, and videos where he's expressed concern for his health despite making no changes. This year, Nick has been posting more of the same concerning and often jarring content. I think most of his loyal fans are finally starting to question if their support is making things worse. Especially when it comes to his seemingly declining health, fans are tuning out of the extreme eating videos more and more. One fan even commented on a recent video of his, "I wish Nick would worry more about his health than his views." At number 4, Catherine McBroom. 2 years after launching her own skincare brand, 1212 Gateway, the influencer was dropped by the brand altogether. To give you some background, in 2021, her former business partner TBL Cosmetics sued her for $30 million. She lost the lawsuit, and last February she was ordered to pay $763,000. There were many reasons why she was taken to court, but most of them came down to dishonesty, unprofessional conduct, and bad business practices. From the time it was launched, her company has been hit by wave after wave of negative reviews, and the beauty community straight up labeled the whole brand as a scam. There were complaints of empty product containers, disheveled packaging, and some people claimed that they were charged extra for a cancelled order. Other claims that the product was so harsh it even burned their faces. Catherine was just supposed to be the face of the 1212 Gateway and promote it on social media, while TBL would take care of management and business operations. But it wasn't long before TBL realized that Catherine was literally trying to take over their company, with them accusing her of organizing a coup against TBL as well as conspiring with her family and friends to stage a takeover of management. The company also claimed that she changed the passwords to their social media accounts, including their email, website, and Shopify. Catherine, of course, denied all their allegations, but her antics landed her in some serious hot water. She can deny all she wants, but people stay skeptical due to her and husband Austin McBroom's history of not living up to expectations and ultimately scamming their fans. At number 3, Austin McBroom. Well, if I'm gonna include Catherine, I may as well throw Austin in here too. The McBrooms are the masterminds behind the family channel called The Ace Family. At this point, I think the only reason they're still getting views on YouTube from their 18 million subscribers is due to them being a family channel, meaning their audience is quite young. In terms of an audience over age of 12, I'm not sure they exist, because I think this year alone they got into at least 4 different scandals. The one I will touch on in this video is Ace Fest. McBroom decided that on July 9th earlier this year they were going to be throwing an event called Ace Fest. Many who attended this extremely hyped up and advertised event were disappointed with promises broken, false advertisement, long lines, overpriced food, and blistering heat. The couple have over 18 million subscribers, mostly featuring their children on their channel, but they announced that at the end of 2022 they were quitting YouTube to travel. But before they go, they wanted to throw this festival. McBroom described the event as Disneyland meets Coachella, which it ended up being the furthest thing from. Prices for their event were about $100 per ticket if you bought a family bundle, but $121 if purchased solo. For context, the price of a one-day pass to Disneyland starts at $104. Basically, the verdict was people were expecting more from the way they hyped up the event and felt ripped off. It was described as an overpriced carnival, and once again the family was accused of scamming their fans. Maybe leaving for 2023 would be the best for the Ace family. Number 2, Nikita Dragon. Last month, the YouTuber was arrested after walking around naked at a Miami Beach hotel pool and causing a public disturbance. Police say when they got there, Nikita had been causing a disturbance for a long period of time, and when they asked her to cut it out, she became irate and threw water on the hotel staffers. Then when the police and security went up to her room, she apparently opened the door after several knocks, but ended up slamming the door in their faces. From that point on, things escalated very quickly. Nikita opened the door again and asked them, "Do you want more?" She then swung at them with an open water bottle, which spilled all over the cops. At that point, she was handcuffed and arrested. Although it does make sense that she would be punished for her actions, some of her fans have pointed out that nothing she did was that serious to warrant an arrest. They think there must be some other kind of hidden reason that she was taken to jail. From that point on, a video went viral of Nikita on social media which showed her in jail talking to a judge. She gets asked, "Do you have the money to post the bond?" Nikita then looks uncertain and asks how much it is. And when she finds out it will come up to about $2,000, she said, "I might have to check." When that video came out, one of her fans, a Florida-based TikToker named Ivy Wyatt, came to her rescue and ended up paying her bond. Even though her time in custody was short-lived, it's not the first time Nikita has done something messy online. She's been called out before for a number of reasons, but this last incident might need a little more than a Notes app apology to win back her fans. And at number 1, Ned Fulmer. Probably the most widely reported YouTuber cancellation of the year was Ned Fulmer of the Try Guys. Formed by the company BuzzFeed in 2014, the four guys, Zach, Keith, Eugene, and previously Ned, made the Try Guys into its own channel where they now have over 8 million subscribers. On September 25th, member Ned Fulmer was accused of cheating on his wife with one of the channel's employees. It started out as rumors in a popular Reddit thread, but fans took the group's silence as a sign they were wrong. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Photos came out of what appeared to be Fulmer making out with his employee, associate producer Alexandria Herring, who is engaged in New York City. At first, the allegations were hearsay as the photos were blurry. Then on September 27th, the Try Guys confirmed that Ned was no longer a part of the group in a statement posted to their socials. The post said, "Ned is no longer working with the Try Guys. As a result of a thorough internal review, we do not see a path forward together." Now this was extra insane because not only was she engaged, she was his employee that he was cheating with. Ned himself is married, a fact he has built a large part of his personality around. He's the guy who loves his wife and kids so much it's all he talks about. Now Ned has even been cut out of new videos recorded before the scandal, the merch campaign, and episodes of their Food Network show.